What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the FansToys Outrider, their version of a masterpiece Trailbreaker. So I got this from Nick the Toy Guy. I also have another one coming from Toy Dojo pretty soon. I'm excited to look at this guy because I've been waiting for this guy a while. He got delayed a few times way back when. We did finally get the date, but then they moved it way up. This was, I think it was supposed to be September, but it got moved up because Takara is releasing their version. So when we get the Takara version, of course, we're going to do a comparison with this guy. But a couple things you need to do right out of the box. Number one, the head will be not tabbed in. So probably for shipping purposes, but just get a push back here, and both the rear tabs and the front tab should tab in, and you should get it nice and flat so that there's no gap between the neck and the top of the chest here. Next thing you want to do is open this up, so just pull this out. If you have trouble, if it's too tight or you can't get that out, open this up, and then I recommend using a spudger to push from this end. Don't necessarily grab that with anything, pliers or anything. Just take a spudger in there and just slowly move that out. That's how you get it out if it's stuck in there. Alright, but here is the figure. What a beautiful, beautiful looking figure. This may also be not adjusted in the right direction, so you may just have to maybe down like this. So you're just going to open that up and set that however you want. But let's put the G1 cartoon image there, and what a beautiful job they did. There's really no kibble to be seen anywhere. Even the back, you know, normally we see a lot of screws and stuff. There's not a lot. It's just clean everywhere. Really well done. So let's take a look at his accessories. He does come with a little gun here, done in silver paint. It is similar to the Bumblebee gun, Masterpiece Bumblebee. Obviously different color, similar shape, but not exactly the same. A little bit different, but there you go. And you can get this in the hand, just like every Masterpiece. It's got a tab on the end. Gonna get that into his palm. But there you go. Nice little blaster there. He also comes with a bunch of new faces, so let's take a look at the face close up. So there's the stock face. It's basically a straight face, you know, not smiling, just straight. It's got metallic eyes. So if you lift up on the head here and get it off of that tab, then you can lift up on the chin and open this up. Actually, you can just fold this back out of the way. But, get a finger under here, and you want to basically fold the entire head back like that. And then once you do that, you can pull down on the face, and it'll pop out. It's on a little tab. Right? And then you get the new face, and this one looks very similar, but I guess it's a little bit more of a grimacing kind of face, but it's very similar. But then you just fold that back in, or make sure you push that all the way in, fold that back in, and then the back of the head probably popped out, so just pop that down, push this back down, and for the purposes of this, I'll just not push it all the way down, but there you go. There's the kind of a little bit more grimacing face. There's his yelling, open mouth face. I really kind of like that one. All right, moving on. You do have a alternate hand here. So in order to change this out, you do have to actually remove that screw right there. And you can open up this panel here, and then it's going to slide downwards. So I'll take the screw off of camera and then show you how it comes. All right, there's the screw. It's a really long screw. It's got, you know, only threads up to here. But once you get that out, you're going to take this and slide it down, and then take the hand, slide that in. Make sure you line up the hole for the screw, and then get that back in there. And there it is with the alternate hand. It looks good. Obviously, for me personally, this character always had the little nozzle, so I'm going to display it and keep it with the nozzle. You can transform it with the nozzle, so you don't have to put this hand on. You don't have to take the screw off. So I think that's a good decision to use a screw because it's secure, and how often are you going to change it out, right? This character is almost always going to have the nozzle. So anyway, let's go over his articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel. Or no, I'm sorry, it is a ball joint. You get a little bit up, a little bit down. Now if you lift up that panel, you can get it up more, obviously, but it breaks the sculpt a little bit. And you get a side to side, finally. Usually FansToys you don't get a side to side, but and it rotates all the way around. For these pieces here, it's on a ball joint, so it does rotate all the way around, goes down, and then this will actually bend too. So this rear armature will go up and down too. So you can get that kind of anywhere you want. I mean, this one is also on armature, so the armature will bend, and then this is on a pin, so you can rotate that back and forth. It feels like die cast. I'm not sure if it is or isn't due to the chrome paint. Maybe this piece, I mean, it feels very, very robust and solid. So whether it is die cast or not, it just feels good. So I have no worries about that at all. All right, come down to the shoulders. There is one thing I want to point out. These rear view mirrors are just sitting on the back of the arms, and there's not really a place to put them. They just kind of sit there. So let me just make sure. Yeah, so, because of that, you have to be careful. If it folds out this way and you're manipulating, you could catch it just like that. So make sure those are folded in. But you do have a rotation all the way around on the shoulder, assuming you have that rotated in. Goes up to here, and again, you can have a little collision with this, so be careful. But up to there on that joint, really nicely done. It's got die cast in there, feels solid, very well done. Now these Trailbreakers always have funky shoulders, and they did a good job on this one. Down here you have a rotation at the bicep. Single jointed elbow, which gets you past 90 degrees, not the full bend, but almost. Rotation at the wrist, into the articulate fingers with 2 pins, and then the thumb is on a ball joint and a pin. I really like how they're doing these hands. They're more rounded, but they still have that FansToys articulation, so it just looks a little bit more humanoid. So I like those. I like those a lot. Rotation at the rotation at the waist. You do have an ab crunch here. You have to kind of unlock it, so you can get him kind of like that. I was watching Pake's review, and his was like falling over. Mine kind of holds the position. So, I'm not really sure. Maybe he got a loose one, but mine seems to be pretty good at holding his position. But anyway, it's not ratcheted, it's just friction. And you can lock that back in. The legs, I love how they did this. No hip skirts. That's the way to do it. Please do this from now on. Legs go all the way up to there because the hip skirt rotates with the leg. Love how they did that. Back to here, hindered by this back piece. Out to the side on friction. Rotation at the thigh, huge rotation because of the way they cut it. It's really well done. Single jointed knee, but it gets you past 90 degrees again due to the way they've sculpted this. There's a little bit extra room to allow this knee to go a little further, so that's nice. You have an ankle tilt and a rocker. Yeah, and up and down, and then I guess you get a, if you wanted to, you could fold this. I mean, this is meant for transformation, but you could get a little bit taller of a heel if you wanted to. But that's really it for his articulation. And for size comparison, there it is next to the MP44 Optimus Prime FansToys version of Brawn. I think his name is Hunk, and looks really good. I love that he's shorter. Kind of got the right height here in robot mode, but obviously much bigger than a mini bot. Really works for me. Alright, now let's get Outrider transformed into his vehicle mode. It's a relatively simple transformation, especially for FansToys, but there are some things to watch out for, so I will point those out. And there's a couple of things that are tight, and I'll show you where to loosen them. So let's start off with the arms. Go ahead and rotate this up, push that in. Now, it looks like it's pushed in all the way, but you actually have to push it in another little step. You'll hear it click. And that's how far you want it. Now getting it out is going to be hard, and that's what I mentioned earlier. Just push it from this side. If you really have a problem, just take the screw out and remove it. But go ahead and rotate this in. It should fit perfectly now that you've done that. You can also put the hand in there if you want to. And then you're going to rotate the arm so that you have this on the inside, the longer part on the inside. All right, same on this side. Fold this up. Rotate the hand 90 degrees or 180 degrees. Fold this in and then tab that in. Rotate the longer side to the inside. Come to the back here. We're going to unpeg these from the back of the arm. And again, just watch out for that little rear view mirror. But get this unpegged from the door, the arm. And just leave this out here. You don't need to remove the window right now. Just this allows us to get a little room. So same with this one, rotate that out and just leave it there for now. All right, now we'll take care of the backpack and everything. So this is actually kind of interesting the way it works. So unpeg the head from here, and that's kind of holding the backpack on. This is going to pull outwards and up. So this is tabbed in right here. So you can see it kind of pulled up and out of here, and it pulled up and out of here. See this part right here. All right, so we're going to open that up. You know, unpeg this backpack piece here. Bring this down and out of the way. This is going to unpeg from here. Rotate this downwards. And this is a little interesting how it works, but straighten this up and open up the back of the head right there. Rotate the head to the side. And we're going to clear all of this. So we're going to open up this panel, and this is going to move past this. It's a little tricky to get this exactly the right way, but oh, there we go. Okay. So this just has to make its way past here. There's a position where it completely goes past very easily. All right, anyway, open this all the way up. The other side, open this up. That's just going to sit back here. Come to the bottom here. We're going to remove these panels here so they're on a double hinge. So bring them up and down. Rotate these out. These are going to flip around, so make sure they work their way around to here. But basically get them all the way down. Same with this one, double hinge. Rotate this out. All right, next we're going to take the head and just straighten that up. This is going to come all the way down. This panel is going to flip over and end up flat on the roof like that. And then the head is going to end up in here. It's actually pegs in and locks into here. So it should really be locked in there like that. So if you don't have it locked in, then it's not right. And you leave a little gap here because that's where the arms are going to go. Now here's where I wanted to show you. This panel right here on the roof is very, very tight in vehicle mode. And you definitely need to rotate it beforehand if you want to rotate it. Now you can see mine is moving pretty freely. That's because I went and unscrewed the screw just a quarter turn. So right here, you just unscrew that just a quarter turn, and that will loosen up this panel just enough so you can rotate it. Now, I want to show you the radar dish piece, which fits into those tab slots. So I'm going to leave it like this, but I just wanted to show you can have a solid roof if you want it to be. All right, but let's leave it like this just so we can show you the accessories later. All right. You're going to take these weapons. This is going to fold flat and sit underneath the roof line. For this one, you're going to rotate this around 180 degrees. And then this is also going to sit flat. So just rotate it down until it sits nice and flat inside underneath the roof line for both of them. Go ahead and take this now. This is going to close down and tab in. There's two tabs here. You can kind of lock that into place on top of the roof. Then you can take this tab and hold here, put your thumb here, and take this tab and bring that down and tab that into both sides. And relatively simple, but you just got to get that all at the same time. Right? And make sure you hold the top, otherwise you keep it coming out. There we go. Now we're going to take this, just leave this open for now because we need the room to work on the arms. So we're going to work on these. So come down to here, and like I mentioned, we're going to rotate these doors up and out of the way. So this is going to accordion down on this joint and then work its way into the chest. And the top of the arm is going to end up sitting where that head is. So that's why we kind of rotated it. Right? And then down here, this door has a little tab. It's going to move on us again, but I'm just showing you. The tab's going to sit into the little slot on that blue piece. Right? When we're all said and done, that's where it's going to end up. So same on this door. Go ahead and take this, rotate this around, accordion it down on that double hinge. This is going to sit down and in here. There we go. So it's going to sit something like that. And then again, this door, you're going to come down and make sure that tab actually sits in that little slot. And again, that is going to move on you, but that's just showing you how it goes. All right, so this is going to come down. Make sure these panels work their way outside. So that's going to be the bottom of the vehicle where the legs are going to end up. And so now let's work on the legs. So let's rotate these wheels to the outside. And they just kind of click into place, right? They tab in and lock. Now we're ready for the legs, and we'll work the legs into there. So come down to here. You're going to pull back on this panel here. It's easiest if you push right here. All right, and that'll untab the back of the calf. We're going to close up the panel down here to the back and then close down the toe. Remove the wheel from here. We're going to close these panels up. This one has a little retaining tab, so make sure you work your way past that tiny little retaining tab. Then close that panel. Double hinge the leg down. It's the smallest double hinge leg I've ever seen. It just needs to go a little bit. And then this is going to come down, and then this is going to come down and tab in. Go to the side of the leg. Use a nail or a spudger to open this panel up. Push down here, because this has to flip around, and that's kind of the bottom of the vehicle. Then close that back up. All right, so that's one leg pretty much done. So the other side is exactly the same, so we'll do it a little bit faster this time. Open this up, flip this to the other side, close up the toe, flip out your wheel. These wheels can be tight, so going back to robot mode, just be careful with these. They tab in very, very tightly on here. All right, so again, flip in these tabs, watching for that little tab, double hinge the leg down, and then close up this panel, and then close up this panel. All right, now these legs are supposed to tab in right here at the bottom, but don't do that just yet because we need the little space to work. Oh, I forgot to do this here, so let's do that really quick. All right, so now we're ready to rotate the legs in. Don't tab them together just yet on the bottom. We can actually store the gun here at this point, so there is a little tab right there in the middle of that gun, and that's going to sit right here between the red thighs. And I don't know if this is worth it, but you can get this in here. Alright, so now that you have the gun kind of sandwiched in there, we're going to take the legs and make sure these arms, or the doors, are tabbed in down here. Make sure this is flat, make sure everything is in, and the panels are out of the way. We're going to rotate right here at this joint. So rotate all the way in, and that's going to peg in down here. You should give it a firm squeeze down into here. You do need to get these panels in right here, and that's why I was saying you don't necessarily have to close the entire thing. But open up these door panels here on the bottom. And now we're going to get these panels in. And this is the part where it's really tight. So you sometimes end up rotating the foot, but you're trying to attach this to here. So that one went in pretty easily. Let's try the other one on the other side. This is the one that gives me a little bit of grief, but there we go. And I popped the gun out, so that's one of the little issues here is you can end up removing the gun if you're not careful. But I'm going to leave the gun out, but just to know you can store that in there in that spot I showed you. All right. Make sure these work their way into there. Those little tabs should be inside. Now we can open up these windows on both sides. And these doors are going to close in. Make sure everything's tabbed and locked before we do that. And then push the doors in on each side. This should be down and sitting right below the windshield line. And there we have Outrider in his vehicle mode. Very good looking vehicle. You got the chrome grille there with the translucent orange and then just clear lights here. You got yellow markers there on the side. Classic Trailblazer symbol here. There's the painted handle there. On the rear you got translucent red for the taillights. A little bit of the feet showing back here, but I don't mind it too much. Doesn't detract from the look anyway. Chrome wheels, rubber tires, rolls like an amazing champ because it's super heavy and solid. Feels like a brick. Nice translucent blue windows all the way around, except for the back window, which is painted. It really doesn't bother me because it's back here, but it would have been, I think, a little better looking. But obviously they couldn't do it because it's not one piece, right? It's 3 pieces. You want to do that. And then up here, there's a painted blue as well. Not a huge fan of the exposed die-cast joints right there, but it is what it is. Now, of course, you can mount the satellite dish here. Now, this has a rotation here at the base. This screw was pretty tight, so I had to unscrew it just a hair, like a quarter turn. But now this will fit here. There's a little notch right there that's going to fit where this tab is. And you can rotate that so you get some articulation. So it goes all the way up. Oops. It goes all the way up and down. And then it can rotate. If you're going up and down, it does seem to pop out, but really, really cool looking. As far as gimmicks, you can open up the doors. Now, I recommend using a spudger to get in from the top and then pop it out like that. Don't pull on this. It doesn't feel like it's going to break, but I wouldn't put any stress on it. It's a somewhat thin piece of plastic. You can get those doors open. There's nothing to see in here. There's really no space for anything, but you can kind of pretend. So we have Spike from the Masterpiece to Hound, Takara Tomy Hound, and he can kind of be getting in to the car. So kind of cool. I mean, he'll fit. It does look like the right size, but if you don't have this one, you could probably use the smaller one. It will be too small, but there you go for a little gimmick there. And for a size comparison, there it is next to the Transform Element Optimus Prime and the FansToys rig, their version of Huffer. So sizes very nicely next to these guys. Huffer is about the same height, about the same width, but obviously shorter. So I like how this looks. I like the overall fitment with the Masterpiece scale. So there you go. So final thoughts on the FansToys Outrider. Let's start with the positives. I think the paint and sculpt are absolutely phenomenal. The proportions on this are really well done, and there isn't a lot of kibble anywhere. I mean, even the legs, the backpack, everything is cleaned up so nicely. It's got that FansToys magic where nothing sticks out. There's a couple of screw holes here, but for the most part, very, very, very clean. I also like the accessory they included, the gun, the fact that you can change out the nozzle for a hand if you prefer that kind of thing. I prefer that because that's more cartoon accurate. The little radar dish for the vehicle mode, and of course the alternate faces. Now I did notice, I mentioned earlier I didn't think these faces were different, but they are actually slightly different. One is slightly more frowning than the other. They're very close. And then the yelling faces are ever so slightly different in the expression. I mean, they're so close, but the mouth is slightly different. So I do like the extra faces, and the face sculpt itself does look really good. Negatives-wise, there is a little bit of collision and hindrance here on the shoulders. So you do have to be careful there, especially with these rear view mirrors. Those tend to get in the way. So you just got to watch out and look as you're manipulating it. It's not horrible, but it definitely gets in the way. I think all Trailbreakers have not very good shoulders and joints there. This one's probably one of the better ones I've seen, but all of them had that problem just due to the transformation and the design of the character. The other only negative is very minor, but in vehicle mode, these little chrome pieces do show up at the top of the roof, and that kind of throws off the look of the vehicle mode ever so slightly. But those are really nitpicks. This is an amazing figure. I love the way they did this. Both robot mode and vehicle mode. Highly recommend it. Just a fun figure overall. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.